Both types of Magnetos are going to get their own individual buff sets. There's also going to be overhauls and changes to the likes of Punisher 2099, Gambit, and many more. There possibly is a tease that we'll be receiving something out of big mutant villains. So that could be something like Apocalypse, Charles Xavier, potentially. I don't know. But as well, there's going to be crystal changes and so many more things. Man, Champion Dev Diary is going to be spicy. You can click some of the links below in the video skip, so you can actually skip to different sections as I talk about them. But man, let's get into this. So let's begin with the design vision. Now, Kabam have alluded to the fact, and by the way, you can check out the link in the description. It'll take you to the forums where this post will be. Basically talking about the idea like Champions have evolved. Something that in 2015 that was released is not going to be viable to a degree even now. And obviously buffs and reworks are necessities in order to make sure those 2015 champions are brought up to the current meta. Which is effectively super true, especially if you look at some of the ones that I haven't even bothered to rank up. There's some that I should really rank up, but that's by the by. You're not going to see the likes of, Abomination be brought up to rank 5 as 65 unless you pair it off with the Eastern Blocker synergy. The likes of Ant-Man, you got Civil Warrior, Venompool, and yes, some of them are 2016 and further, but still the point remains about the champion viability. Even looking at some of the new ones like the OG Iron Man and as well Superior Iron Man. The list goes on with champions that haven't really been seen to be taken from the initial point of being a 5-star at rank 1, and the same thing with those at a 6-star being brought up to the highest rank possible because they can't really be used. So this is something Kabam need to understand and do, that the ongoing narrative is to take these old school champions and buff them up. Also, it looks like some of the key things that Kabam are looking to do is look at Act 6, look at champion availability, also champion interaction with these type of nodes, and as well the scaling and the changes that Act 6 will bring once, say, comes towards the end point of the year, which, as you know, Act 6 is getting dramatically nerfed from attack rating values right the way through to nodes and other things as well. But there's so many things to take into consideration, and as well Kabam have alluded to and kind of like teasing something of new tech is coming in order to maybe interact with them and interact with some of the champions that you'll have against some of these fights. So that is good news and could bring about some less pain points for players moving forward. And the name of the game at the moment is current counters, and finding obviously there's so many pain points. So like tech improvements, having champions with so many kind of aspects of kit to overcome certain circumstances means that, when you're doing Act 6.4 and you're like thinking to yourself, okay, well, I've got this lane here to do, and like, well, do I have a viable counter for this? Do I have a viable counter for that? These are kind of like things that are going to be quite important, and having that one set champion that's going to stand out at the moment, it is the case that you're just finding that kind of little pot of gold at the end of the rainbow to have all those different colors and tricks to take on this different content, rather than it being about, maybe taking on one node of this, and maybe it's a higher hit pool, maybe the attack rating's lower, those kind of variables and things when it comes to a lot of endgame content and champion availability to take down said content. Now, something to mention in blue, and that is complexity of champions. Now, I do feel that Kabam at times put in overly complicated champions, which do mean for it, it's hard for then the player base to really take on board. And I understand there's going to be people that actually like that, but I must admit for myself, I like very simply built champions, stuff that does exactly what it says in the tin, doesn't require much effort. And actually some of the things they're talking about in this point here, saying that champions that are pre-flight ability allow you not really to concentrate on the scheme of the fight, which I think is very true for a few champions where they're a bit complex and you have to end up watching the screen a bit too much. Like Nova, where you've got to constantly watch the top left-hand corner, and as well Silver Surfer. I'm not saying that's exactly the same case, but it is the case that you do have to spend a lot of time watching what is happening, and if you kind of miss an opportunity to kind of maximize damage output based on buffs or specific types of charges or just charges in general, then it's a case that you can mess up, and then it's like your process has to restart again to then constantly build up the damage or build up the process in order to maximize damage. Yeah, pre-fight abilities do give that option to then choose stuff prior to going into battle, and cross-fight things can again help out as well. Do I really like them? I don't know. I've never been overly won by pre-fight or kind of, well, yeah, pre-fight abilities in general. Persistent charges I get and I quite like, but a lot of my favorite champions being persistent charge-based champions like Morningstar, Sabretooth, etc. So yeah, there are some kind of like cool things out there, but at times I can feel a little bit, well, complex in delivery. And obviously on that last point, it's up to you whether or not you feel that the champions are getting a little bit too much when it complexity or you actually like it. It's completely up to you. I mean, for me, and it comes into this point here, is that as I get older and obviously as I kind of like to play other games, trying to remember every single interaction is something that is becoming a bit of a chore than a delight. And yeah, I do want to create a complete interaction guide for all champions, but trying to keep on top of that is so difficult, especially as even Kabam alluded to in this paragraph here, is that they've kind of gone a bit too far with the extent of how things have to be kind of remembered. And if something's not working, say you take one champion against one node, which is meant to be a viable option and counter, then when things obviously break and don't work, then you have to then go back to the drawing board to find it. Kabam have to repatch it, improve it. But the main thing to say is that it is so difficult to constantly keep a handle on what champions interact better. And that's the great thing about the community. They come up with lots of interaction ideas and things. So, you know, we're always there with finding out who is good against what node. But at the same time, there's so much to remember. And also the same thing with that is the details. And that's the thing, details and abilities, because in the abilities there will be things like, oh, guaranteed 100% crit. But then there's going to be other champions saying that 100% of the time they are not guaranteed to crit against them. There's a lot of things that are kind of, again, very wishy-washy and some conflicting stuff which Kabam are going to sort out. However, though, we now have to move on to the most important thing, and that is how Kabam plan to buff said champions and how they plan to kind of work in stuff, because this guy here, Punisher 2099, is going to get a bit of a look into, which is Peachy. Now here's the thing, first and foremost, Kabam say that investing in a champion is a big deal, and it is, because getting those resources takes a lot longer unless the meta is switched up to improve rewards. However, though, they plan to look at the following. First and foremost is looking to add value to underperforming champions. Champions update Strike Team, which is the Strike Team, not Strike Force, because it's a different game. Strike Team is going to be taking on a lot of these extra buffs and sorting them out with the time frames of obviously delivering 2 a month. Also, nerfs will occasionally be necessary, which is a bit scary, but I'd like to find out who is planned to be nerfed, because that would just like be, you know, it's a bit scary, man, a bit scary. And the primary goal is to buff up the bottom end of the roster before any potential nerfs, which again is still a little bit scary. I don't know if I'm too happy with that. Depends who they plan or who they're even kind of guessing is on the chopping block for the nerf. Now, yeah, that statement makes me a little bit nervous about the extent of some of the champions that I've ranked up, obviously for purpose. And some of them have already gone through the wash of being kind of slightly nerfed down, like Namor. Just want to see if there's anything else here that sticks out to me. No, I think that's pretty much it. I think it's just Namor in particular. Recently, Colossus Hulkbuster buffs have been put in, but they were reviewed exponentially, so I don't think that they would be on the chopping block. Could it be a case that some of the god tier champions would be on the block? I don't know, but it makes me a little bit nervous about seeing the word nerf, and especially from the fact that Kabam seem to, like, by that omission, have some idea who they might be going for. So I'd like to find out a bit more about that, as to like maybe what champions in the future will be nerfed, and as to, like, you know, rank ups. Because some of the champions that I've ranked up, I rank up because I like. Are some of these putting out exponential damage? Probably not. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens with that. But it does make me quite anxious to see that in this post. Also, if you're interested in the buffs, the Strike Team are going to focus on the following areas when it comes to dealing with champions, and put them into either one of 4 categories. So balanced, first of all, champions that are good enough for now or better. Then it's a case that tune up, no ability changes, just tuning up numbers. So like Torch and Sentry, so basically like attack rating boosts and damage output numbers and RNG numbers and stuff. Numbers, so update will be numbers and minor ability changes, but largely the same kit, like Red Hulk or Carnage. And an overhaul, a new kit entirely would be the likes of Hulkbuster and Colossus. And this brings us on to like two other major things. The first thing being that the overhauls for Magneto are going to be in September's update. October is going to see Punisher 2099. That's a complete tune-up. And there's going to be an update to Gambit and Falcon. So that's good to see. Now, obviously, that works out incredibly well for me. I've got a Punisher 2099 and as well Magneto. I've got a Magneto at 6-star. Funnily enough, Seaton actually pulled me that 6-star Magneto at New York Comic Con 2019. So that is something that's must have been a sign. Either way, those champions do need to be addressed. And as well, when it comes to Magneto, because of the extent of people talking about his like a mega level mutant power, and I must admit that is the case that I totally agree with. Growing up with this character through the means of X-Men comics and the X-Men 90s animated series, seeing this in game, which I was like really looking forward to, is just a case of like, ooh, he's a bit, yeah, he's not exactly the Magneto we want. Also, it's good to see that the other Magneto is going to be addressed as well. But they're going to take two different comic book art dealing with. So the fact is, like, one is going to be focused on one side of things when it comes to kit and where the character was, and the Magneto Marvel Now version again is going to deal with a very different time in Magneto's backstory, which I think is incredibly clever, and I really like what they're going to do. With the extent, obviously, of people wanting to find out when things are going to happen, because at the end of the day, some of these roadmaps, the biggest criticism is when Kabam plan to do stuff. Kabam have said in this particular answer for Magneto, they will deal with it. They will get a buffed version out to you, the two kits, by August. So it's next month, which I think is incredibly important to do, because at the end of the day, and yes, there won't be a beta, so you won't be able to like test this out at all, which I know some people may be like, well, you know, well, we want to test it out first. It may not be good when it's entered. But the fact is, maybe it's a case just to throw it out to the community so everybody gets to play it just like boom, straight away. And then obviously people can cast their thoughts and then maybe retuned in the future. But the focus is very different. With the Magneto normal one, it will focus on his villainous side, hunting enemy metal champions. So that's the first thing. But then the second type of comic book arc is the Marvel Now version, which will focus on his redemptive side and enhancing metal treatments or teammates, metal teammates, sorry. So it's a case though everyone's going to get a buff from that. So it's going to be like a Brotherhood of Mutants type buff to metal champions, maybe something like that. There may be a different kit build, but I think the first one probably be the more impressive, where the Magneto Marvel Now will be more supportive, like a difference between a tank or DPS versus a healer supportive class. Okay, now I've got to like really put together what my thought processes are for this. Now, there's something called a champion tease here, and it's saying like some iconic champions are going to be into the game, and also like a pairing, a double act, and as well a big foe. So I don't know if this is the case of saying like, okay, so Magneto and somebody else, like, is it Brotherhood of Mutants? Is it going to be something like Mystique paired up and then they've got one villain to go up against? Don't know. But there is a theory that I've got, and obviously based on a lot of like rumors and stuff like that, and as well the puzzle, that we could be seeing the likes of Charles Xavier as being that duo, and then who they got to go up against as being the biggest kind of threat that they have. Well, there's been quite a few over the comic book history, but would Kabam go big? I'm talking like super big and go Apocalypse. And again, like I said, there's so many other villains that they've gone up against as a duo. But the main one, obviously, that rings to mind is, well, you could say like Mr. Sinister to a degree. But, you know, there's Mr. Sinister's in the game. So the only other one would be something like Apocalypse or, again, some other villain. So imagine that. Imagine if Kabam are going to announce at some point, and obviously with the release of Marvel Realm coming into the latter point of this year, it could be a case that obviously we see the... Well, I really hope we don't see it. The Marvel Realm version of Apocalypse. Like I said, I really hope we don't see it, because as much as I like the way that it's put together, to a degree, it's not the Apocalypse I would love to see. I want to see the big techie kind of like mech suit type kind of like vibe, with all the blue over the face, and obviously the big kind of like like on the belt and stuff. Like, I'd love to see that. So I just hope if it is not the Marvel Realm version, but is actually the comic book, or like, you know, the version that a lot of us have seen, not the film version. God, no, not the film version. But okay, one of the most major things that is going to be announced, apart from Wolverine as a 5-star coming in July, and whether or not it's an arena or into the featured crystals, the featured Cavalier crystals, she's going to be coming. There you go. You all laughed at me. You all said, no, it's not going to happen. Well, for the people that stuck true with me and said that, yeah, Rich, I'm with you. We will see a 5-star Scarlet Witch. Oh, no, they can't put it in. It's too powerful. No, you're wrong, Rich. You're completely wrong. Well, they're going to do it, goddammit. So all those doubters, all those haters out there, right? Well, there you go. I broke the microphone stand, so that's karma, isn't it? Crap. Yeah, I might have to spend the rest of the video holding up the microphone. God damn it. There you go. As I said, that's karma there. You know, don't gloat. You know, don't sing when you're winning, because, like, damn it. Okay, next up, and something that may divide opinions, and that is the way the crystals potentially will change. I see a lot of good from this, but I'm sure that there will be plenty of people to have their say on the matter. And obviously, Kabam do welcome you to give feedback on this. Every time something's on the forum, you are able to give your feedback, and obviously that helps towards the game's improvements from obviously Kabam listening to players. The main thing is this here with crystals. So dual class basic hero crystals, 10,000 shards, 5-star hero crystals for uncollected and Cavalier summoners. 1 crystal with 2 classes, mutant or skill, science and mystics, cosmic and tech. 1 crystal will appear for 24 hours, replaced by the next day, and so on and so forth. And this is looking to be put in like late July, early August. So there's a lot of things when it comes to like being more specific as opposed to it like covering a broad spectrum. So you just go, right, if my class is lacking here, class is lacking there, then boom, you get that choice and weight to spend. So as well, you got improved 5-star, 6-star featured hero crystals and improving selection of champions within the crystal. So a miss does not sting as much. The most recent 5-star featured is, for example, so basically there's a lot more viable champions for players. Which is amazing, because like if you read off here, like there's very rare like opportunity to see a dud. There's a couple of duds in there, but you know, you've got Yondu, he's alright. I don't think I see a lot of players using him. Winter Soldier, he's alright. You know, actually to be honest, that's a really good champion with good synergy pair up. But the other stuff is helpful. Heimdall, Hulk Ragnarok's good for prestige, Hyperion, Iceman, Korg. You know, you've got a whole host of champions there that are going to be helpful, except for Cyclops. I think that's just there as a meme. But, you know, in the future, I can imagine that will be buffed. But yeah, like a whole host of like decent champions. So if Kabam are going to be looking to change that in the future, then I suppose that's going to be good for players in any case. Now we're coming to the end, but 2 things to mention. The first thing being that the Wish Crystal, which similar to like how we've done it before, where the community gets to vote on something and have control about the crystal, it looks like that is going to be the case with something that looks like it's going to be designed later point in early next year, and just like some customizable aspects to it does mean that players get really a say as in what goes into it. So you can put a load of god tier champions into that crystal and have a real fun time, which I think would be amazing for the community. And now on to something and finishing off with signature stones. Now that's something that have a pain point for me and various other players that are looking to get that kind of leg up without having to spend an extensive amount of money to get more signature stones. And for me at the moment, I need more, so I'm going to do Labyrinth for Legends 100% in order to get the champions really ramped up with signatures to improve prestige and so many other aspects. But, you know, that's my situation. Kabam have noted that, and what they've done here, what they said, is that signature stones will be looked at to add more padding into things like 22-hour events and more availability to pull them, which I think is going to be incredibly important for you when it comes to just increasing signatures. And yes, it will take a long time to do, but at least there's something as a start that we can have in place that we can just start gaining those signature stones quicker. And even better, that they're going to be generics and a crystal as well. As well as what is said in green is that it looks like there will be 6 stars down the line in order to not have the same pain points as we had with 5 stars, but obviously that will be a process for that being added. But this will be really good to see that this will be added sooner rather than later, with if what seems to be, if you're Cavalier, you get 1 5-star signature stone crystal and 1 that is a generic. So that's good as starting point, as well as there will be more areas to pull more of the 5-star signature stones, and maybe that'll be added onto some current stuff, maybe some old stuff. We'll have to wait and see with this. I fixed my microphone stand, by the way, if anybody cares, but the fact is this actually looks quite good. Of the ones that have been released in the past, the Quest one obviously is good for many players, but obviously there's so many different things. Like the pain points are your quality of life, your alliance-based stuff, and obviously that is crucial and does need to change. But the fact is, champions and quests are kind of two of the most important things. With champions being that because there's a lot more champions that you gather, and as well the viability of them through abilities and so many things needs to be upped in order to take on the content. But the thing is how to acquire them and also ramp them up through signature stones. That's the crucial thing. If Kabam are adding more signature stones, that is great. And as well, the way that champions are buffed and obviously going to be shipped out to players is going to be fantastic. So there's a lot more positives to this one than meets the eye. So I'm glad about that. There will be a few things down the line to find out, well, like how Kabam plan to put these crystals in place. And obviously there seems to be a little bit more emphasis on giving some time frames. Yeah, we've still got that kind of like by the end of the year in 2021. But at least we're starting to see the trickles of little improvements here or there. With August, September, and each month seeming that there's going to be more added. But more to do with like champion improvements, which is going to be good. And committing to those 2 champion buffs a month, I think will be crucial for a lot of players that pull them as 6 stars and go, oh man, this is trash and needs to be looked into. Definitely Iron Patriot, Moon Knight I see, as well as Iron Fist and several others that seem to be the key ones. So I think they will need to be on the chopping blocks for being completely redone and brought to the current meta, completely overhauled. But yeah, what are the thoughts from people on this particular dev diary? Is this better than the other ones? Is it not what you expected? Put it in the comment section. And go to the forum post, link is in the description as well, because you'll need to have your say. Kabam are asking people to have their say on some of the stuff that has been mentioned, because obviously feedback is incredibly important and they need to listen now more than ever when it comes to these champion changes and dev diary changes as well. There we go, that has been a video. Go and check out some recent content up here. Check out some other stuff. This is a busy day, so there's probably going to be a video from me on the Cavalier difficulty, this as well. So yeah, lots to take into consideration, lots of things to come out today. And as well, tomorrow it's going to be a busy old timing game, and I'll see you for all those videos. Thanks for watching. And Friday, I'm VR. See you then. Bye-bye.